Hi, hello. Today we're going to be talking about the 5-star Dragon Rayquaza that's coming out, the shiny Rayquaza that is coming out, and I'm going to tell you the Pokemon that you can build ahead of time to defeat it, assuming the moveset, which I'm going to go over because I calculated all the moves it can do and how much damage it can do, assuming that it will be level 75 because 5-star raids are level 75. Now, before we get to the 10 Pokemon, I built 10 different Pokemon for this raid for you to use, which is a lot and took a long time. So before we get to the 10 Pokemon, I want to just go over what Rayquaza can actually do and why I decided on the 10 Pokemon we are going to do today. Okay, Rayquaza is a dragon flying type Pokemon with the ability Airlock. The ability is going to shut off weather conditions. This pretty much makes ice-type Pokemon kind of useless here. Not completely useless, but ice does get a defense boost when Snowstorm is up. You cannot Snowstorm with Airlock unless you disable the ability. That just seems like a lot of work, especially when we have Fairy-type Pokemon, which should be pretty dominant here. Because it will be the because it will be the Dragon Tera Type, any Dragon Type moves will be boosted by the same type attack bonus, but then also by the Dragon Tera, which is why we want to lean into Fairy Type Pokemon because they cannot get hit by Dragon Type moves at all, whereas Ice Type Pokemon would take neutral damage from Dragon, but it would get the Dragon Stab and the Dragon Tera, which means it would take more damage than they need to, which is why we're, again, going to avoid something like an Ice Type. Still gets the Flying Type Stab, even though it's Dragon Type Tera. Rayquaza's stats are very good. It has an attack stat of 150. That is incredible. It has a special attack stat of 150. Incredible. Both very good. This leads me to believe that Rayquaza will be a mixed attacker. It has a lot of moves just in general. I'm going to pull those up real quick. So the attack side, we have Crunch, we have Dragon Ascent, has Dragon Ascent, which would be boosted by, it would be stab boosted, and this would actually hit a lot of Fairy-type Pokemon pretty hard for neutral damage. Outrage, I'm sorry, I should say that this is like the strongest move of its type that it has. It does have weaker versions, but I'm calculating the strongest type. So, for example, if we can survive Earthquake, then we can survive Bulldoze. If we can survive Outrage, then we can survive Dragon Claw. So we have Crunch, Dragon, Outrage. This is a flying type move, by the way. Just it's not actually a Dragon type move. Double Edge, Iron Head, and Gyro Ball. This is calculated based off speed. That's why these two are calculated. This would be this is not a threat to anyone. This would be a threat to Fairy type Pokemon. We'll get to that. Wild Charge. We'll get to why that might be important. Earthquake, Stone Edge, Waterfall, Shadow Claw, Brick Break, Avalanche. Avalanche really not that threatening at all, but all these were calculated. On the special attack, we have Draco Meteor and Dragon Pulse. Both boosted. I was like, why are the pluses here? The pluses here are not because they're boosted. I just remembered. Sorry, I've been working on this for so long, I forgot what I was doing. These pluses indicate that the Rayquaza in the anime has proven to have those moves, the shiny Rayquaza in the anime. So Dragon Ascent, Draco Meteor, and Dragon Pulse are for sure confirmed in the anime of what it knows. So that's why I made sure to calculate all that. If it is an anime tie-in, maybe expect those 3 moves for sure. Hurricane, Ancient Power, Thunder, Focus Blast, Overheat, Solar Beam, Earth Power, Blizzards, Meteor Beam, Hydro Pump. The main, it also gets like Flamethrower and stuff. Again, Overheat is stronger than that stuff. The actual, probably the biggest main threat on the special side would be Earth Power. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And then on the status side, it doesn't get a lot of status type moves, but the ones that we would be worried about would be Swords Dance, Bulk Up, Dragon Dance. Now keep in mind that all of these moves boost its physical attack. It has no way of boosting its special attack. It also has no way of boosting its special defense. The only way it can boost its physical defense is with Bulk Up. So that's what led me to the 10 Pokemon here. But if you want to check out its move pool, as you can see, it gets a lot of moves. So let's start with the 10 Pokemon. Okay, our first Pokemon is going to be Zacian. Zacian is undoubtedly, without even a second thought, one of, if not the strongest physical fairy attacker and steel type attacker in the entire game. Mostly because of its ability Intrepid Sword, which will boost its attack when it enters the battle, so it'll start with a +1. We do get a huge boost in attack by holding the Rusted Sword to make us go into Crown form. And that also gives us the Steel typing, which lets us resist the Flying type moves. So you could play this Zacian two ways. You can play this without the Rusted Sword and hold the Shell Bell, but you don't resist Dragon Accent anymore. Or you can do even more damage, which means assuming that somebody is near you healing you, you can just do crazy amounts of damage by holding the Rusted Sword and also have more resistances with Steel type. The one thing you would not resist would be that Earth Power I talked about earlier and the Earthquake in case it has it. You still do fairly well here. The moveset I would recommend would be Play Rough, Snarl, Iron Defense, and Swords Dance. Iron Defense will obviously help you survive more. You probably won't have to hit this button if somebody is going to set Reflect for you. Snarl is here to build Tera. Like I said, Rayquaza is probably going to have at least 1 or 2 special attacks. So you can use Snarl to lower that special attack as you build Tera. And then once you're able to Terastallize, you'll be doing more damage with Play Rough. This is where the, maybe don't even run the Rusted Sword and just put Shell Bell on it anyways comes in. But again, that's like a complete playstyle choice. Shell Bell can ultimately be put on like every Pokemon. It's like the best held item in raids. So really easy to play. You're just going to Snarl to build Tera. You're going to Terastallize. You're going to hit Play Rough. You're going to Swords Dance after stats reset. You'll maybe you could start off with an Iron Defense or Iron Defense again after stat resets, and you should be pretty good. EVs are just 252 HP, 252 attack, 4 defense. Zacian can also learn Howl, so if you're standing with other Zacians or other physical attackers, you could swap out Swords Dance for Howl. And the other thing that Zacian and a lot of Fairy-type Pokemon can learn is Misty Terrain. Just want to talk about Misty Terrain real quick because it's on the graphic. Misty Terrain is not like the other 3 terrains. It does not boost Fairy attack. Grassy Terrain, Electric Terrain, and Psychic Terrain boost their respective attacks by, I want to say it's 30%. Misty Terrain does not do that. It halves Dragon type moves by 50%. So any Dragon type move Rayquaza has will do less damage, but Dragon type moves can't hit Fairy. So if you were playing with Ice type Pokemon, and again, I don't really think Ice type Pokemon should bring, but if you were playing with non-Fairy Pokemon, you could put Misty Terrain up to prevent hard-hitting Dragon-type moves. But the other thing about Misty Terrain is it also prevents status conditions. So if we want to burn or paralyze Rayquaza, we aren't able to do that with Misty Terrain up. Now, Rayquaza has no way to burn or paralyze or poison us. So overall, as long as we're all picking Fairy-type Pokemon, Misty Terrain's not needed. I do have a couple non-Fairy Pokemon here, but we'll talk about why those are picked. Zacian, very easy to play. This leads us to our second Pokemon, which is probably the Pokemon you're going to see the most for Rayquaza. Azumarill. Before I get into this, I am not a huge Azumarill fan. I have probably done more raids than all of the YouTube commenters on this video combined. I do so many raids, and whether that's with my community or with randoms or whatnot, and I am hard-pressed to find an Azumarill player that doesn't just understand how raids work 2 years later. Azumarill can be good, that's why it's on the list. But here's the Azumarill I built. It has Chilling Water, Play Rough, Charm, and Belly Drum. And a lot of the times, I think, if you're watching this video, you could probably comment and be like, yes, I've seen plenty of Azumarill players faint, because Azumarill players probably faint as much as Iron Hand players and cost a lot of people the raids. But for this Azumarill, we're going to do Chilling Water, Play Rough, Charm, and Belly Drum. You can also teach Azumarill Mud Slap. Azumarill also learns Light Screen. So again, if we're worried about special attacks hitting, we can replace Charm for Light Screen, because Charm can't be used when the Raid Shield is up anyways. But it is a good start. I was a little bit worried about building Azumarill because Rayquaza does get quite a few electric-type moves, specifically Wild Charge. And Azumarill does pretty well with Wild Charge, actually. So all you would need to do to decently survive Wild Charge is to hit Chilling Water once. If Rayquaza is a -1, Wild Charge is not threatening at all. It would actually be better for Rayquaza to switch to a more neutral flying-type move that it can hit you with. So how I would play this Azumarill is I would just spam Chilling Water to build your Tera and to wait for your stats reset. Once stat resets, then I would Belly Drum. As long as Rayquaza is a -1 and you are healthy. I've seen so many Azumarill Belly Drum when they don't have full health, or when a raid boss Pokemon is like +2 or +3. So if you're behind a Reflect, if Rayquaza is -1, you are safe to Belly Drum. And again, with the Belly Drum, I wouldn't initially Belly Drum off the bat, because you're having your health, and then you're going to hit it. The raid shield's going to go up. Your stats are going to reset. You're going to have to do it again. And as long as everyone's just building Tera at the start, it's going to be just as quick. I am sure there's some one-shot strategy that will happen. I am sure some people want to optimize for that. I have built all of these raid Pokemon in mind for group play and playing with others. So that's where the movesets, that's where the EVs come in for Azumarill. 252 HP, 248 attack, and 8 defense. There's a reason why 8 defense turned 2 moves from a 4-hit KO to a 5-hit KO, but I cannot remember those 2 moves off the bat. But anyways, I think getting to Tera with Azumarill is way more important than belly drumming twice. And using Chilling Water to get to Tera, you're going to do more damage than somebody who belly drums, plays rough, belly drum again, play rough, and they're still not at Tera after those 4 moves, where you can be Chilling Water 3 times, play rough, and now you're going to be Tera boosted for the rest of the fight. With these 2 physical Pokemon, the one downside to them is if Rayquaza can spam Bulk Up, because then you would be doing less damage. So keep that in mind for Bulk Up. If Rayquaza has Bulk Up, which I think Swords Dance Dragon Dance is way more likely, it would just be annoying if we do see like a Bulk Up build Rayquaza. Our next Pokemon is going to be a Pokemon you don't actually have to Terastallize at all, because it's full support. That's going to be Tinkaton. I know Tinkaton has a big hammer. I know it has a big move. I just want to remind people that Tinkaton's attack stat is lower than Krabby's. Krabby's base attack stat of 105 is significantly higher than Tinkaton. That's why we're going to use Tinkaton as a support Pokemon. If you look at my graphics, they're labeled as all-arounder, damage, and support. Ideally, when I think of group play, I think of 1 support, 1 attacker, and then 2 all-arounders for the smoothest raid experience. Like, I wouldn't recommend like 3 supports and 1 attacker, but you could do like 2 attackers, 1 all-arounder, 1 support. It's just like a classification. I think of like, I don't think 4 support Pokemon could beat a raid boss, but I also don't think 4 attackers can beat a raid boss if everyone's just spamming belly drum attack and no one's actually like healing or setting up reflex. So that's how I think of classifications. In the case for Tinkaton, we are going to be doing Rock Smash, Helping Hand, Light Screen, and Reflect, holding the Light Clay item. Because we're not doing big damage, we want to keep our Fairy and Steel typing for the resistances. The only real threat here would be the Earthquake or the Earth Power, but Tinkaton can survive those just fine, specifically behind the Reflect and Light Screen. Light Clay to make those last 8 turns. Once your screens are up, your job is going to just use Rock Smash to lower Rayquaza's defense, so those Azumarills, because we will see plenty of Azumarills, will be able to do more damage. Same for Zacian, same for any other physical attacker. Rock Smash has a 50% chance of lowering the defense stat of the raid boss. And then once those Pokemon start to Terastallize, then you will want to use Helping Hand on them. I don't think Helping Hand is worth it before the Terastallization, but you open up with Light Screen Reflect, depending on what Rayquaza is going to start with. You're going to switch over to Rock Smash. You're going to do a little heal cheer in between if you need to. And then once you start seeing Pokemon Terastallize, you're going to Helping Hand them. So if you like playing support, I think Tinkaton is a great option. It can also learn Fake Tears. If you are playing with special attackers, you can swap out Rock Smash for Fake Tears. It also gets Skitter Smack if, for some reason, Rayquaza goes special heavy. I don't think it will, but it does have a lot of support moves. That's the point. EVs for this is going to be 252 HP, 72 attack, 160 defense, 24 special defense. And I know I said like Tinkaton's not an attacker, but there was like a diminishing returns on the defensive stat. for Tinkaton and the special defense. So we'll just dump the EVs into attack. So at least if you're rock smashing more and more, at least it does a little bit more damage. EVs are weird, so don't worry about that too much. Our next Pokemon is going to be Clefairy, and Clefairy is going to be another support Pokemon. Clefairy has a really cool ability called Friend Guard, which means the 3 teammates standing next to you will get an automatic defense boost as long as your ability is active. We're going to be holding the Eviolite item to boost our defenses and special defenses by 50%, and our moveset is really simple. It's going to be Chilling Water, Life Dew, Light Screen, and Reflect. Kind of the same as Tinkaton, except we don't get the 3 bonus turns by holding the Light Clay because we need to be holding the Eviolite. Chilling Water to lower Rayquaza's attack because Rayquaza has multiple ways to increase its attack stat. And then Life Dew to just heal our team over and over. So ideally, how you play this is you Light Screen, you Reflect, you Chilling Water, Life Dew, Chilling Water, Life Dew, reapply screens as needed. And that's pretty much it. Clefairy, like Tinkaton, can learn Fake Tears if you're playing with a lot of special attackers. Clefairy, like Tinkaton, can learn Helping Hand. Our EVs are going to be 252 HP, 192 defense, and 64 special defense. I think any team composition with Clefairy, setting a Reflect, using Chilling Water, and then Life Doing, I don't know how you would lose. Clefairy behind a Reflect is really powerful. There was probably questions about why Clefairy instead of Clefable. Clefairy survives a lot of things better in a group situation with Friend Guard being active. Clefable works better in a solo situation because Unaware only affects it. So in a situation where Rayquaza is maybe +6 attack and +6 speed with Dragon Dance, Clefable wouldn't see that, but Clefable's teammates would take the brunt of that damage because they don't have Unaware. Again, my builds are for group situations, and we want to keep the group alive because keeping the group alive helps us win. So if we have one Clefable standing there, not taking any damage because I'm Unaware, but our teammates are dying, that's not very helpful. So Clefable could work. A lot of Pokemon could work, to be very clear. I'm sure somebody's going to comment like, why didn't you build 10 more Pokemon? It's a lot of Pokemon. But I think Clefairy does really, really good here as just like screens and healing, and just let the other 3 Pokemon do their thing as you're keeping everyone alive. Plus, it's super cute. Our next Pokemon is going to be Magearna, which maybe a lot of people don't have. I guess if you have Ultra Sun and Moon and you've beaten the Elite Four and you've scanned the QR code off the website, you can then go get Magearna and then send it to Pokemon Bank and then send it to Pokemon Home and then redeem it in there. Or you could complete your Pokedex like I did in Pokemon Home and get your original Pokeball color Magearna. Magearna is kind of like Zacian, except on the special side and not the same ability. But it kind of does the same thing Zacian would do, but on the special side. That's the point I'm making. So Magearna is a Steel Fairy, just like Zacian. Or is Zacian? No, Zacian's technically Fairy Steel. Anyways, it has the ability Soul Heart. What Soul Heart will do is if your teammates faint, Magearna will get a boost, which is very good. You probably won't see that a lot you probably will see that a lot. Well, you'll see that probably with playing randoms. If you're playing with a competent team, its ability is probably not going to matter. But we'll get back to its ability in a second. We'll have Dazzling Gleam, that's our main damage dealer. Metal Sound to lower the special attack of the raid boss. Reflect. Obviously, I've talked about Rayquaza being able to boost its physical attack. And then Calm Mind. Calm Mind's the only way for you to boost your special attack on its own. You also get to boost your special defense. So if we do see an Earth Power, Calm Mind will be very, very good there. It can also get Iron Defense, which out of all 10 of these Pokemon, I don't do solo builds because I really do like group play, and obviously this game wants group play. And if you think about it, when you're playing solo, you're still playing with other Pokemon that most of the time are helping you. So if I was to do this solo, I think Magearna is the best. And the reason I think that is because if I was to solo this, I would reset my teammates until I got 2 Intimidators. Ideally like Staraptor or Arcanine. I would reset until I got 2 of those. And every time they faint and come in, Rayquaza's physical attack would be lowered and your Soul Heart would be activated. So I would also, if I was playing solo, I would probably reset for that 3rd Pokemon to be Arboliva. And the reason I would want to reset for Arboliva is in case Rayquaza has Earthquake, because Arboliva's grassy terrain would have the damage from Earthquake, because grassy terrain just halves the damage from Earthquake and Bulldoze and Magnitude, although I don't think Magnitude's in the game. So if I was to play solo, I would use Magearna. I would probably swap out Metal Sound for Iron Defense. I would reset for 2 Intimidators and Arboliva, and I think that would probably be the best solo situation because of the Intimidates and because of the Soul Heart. In a group play, still think Magearna is great. I think the typing is good. I think the moveset is good. The only other thing I want to talk about for Magearna is Trick Room. There's a lot of Pokemon can learn Trick Room, so I'm just using Magearna as the Trick Room example. If Rayquaza spams Dragon Dance, or at least Dragon Dances once or twice, it's going to outspeed everyone. So if we are just using like Chilling Water or Reflect, and we're just focused on the physical side of things and not about its speed, it does start to outspeed everything. Trick Room would immediately resolve that issue, and all of a sudden we would be faster no matter how many Dragon Dances Rayquaza would use. I'm not going to go into why speed matters, because speed does matter in raids, but I just wanted to talk about Trick Room for a second. Your EVs for Magearna are real simple: 252 HP, 4 defense, 252 special attack. That's it. Shell Bell is the item to get health back every time you Dazzling Gleam. The next Pokemon is a Pokemon I've built quite a few times. I really like. Not the easiest to get, I suppose, in Scarlet and Violet, but it's Galarian Weezing with the Poison and Fairy typing, and then being Tera Fairy. Weezing works really, really well with all the special attackers that we're going to talk about. So Magearna and the upcoming ones that we haven't gotten to yet. Like I said earlier, Rayquaza has no way to boost its special defense. So that means we can use Acid Spray to lower its special defense. And if it was a bulk up Rayquaza, we wouldn't have to worry about its physical defense going very high. We also have Clear Smog, though. So whether it has Swords Dance, whether it has Dragon Dance, whether it has Bulk Up, we can just Clear Smog those away. Although we would Clear Smog like the Chilling Water stuff or the Snarls. But I wanted a Pokemon that could Acid Spray, that could Clear Smog, and could Will-O-Wisp. Now, I like the Zoom Lens on Weezing because as long as you're slower than Rayquaza, and Weezing is pretty slow, Zoom Lens will make Will-O-Wisp 100% accurate, so we don't have to worry about any Aaron Zhang situations here. So how I would play Weezing is I would either start off with Clear Smog or Will-O-Wisp, depending on what Rayquaza does, but ultimately that would be your first 2 turns. Will-O-Wisp would have all physical attack damage, which if you're Will-O-Wisping and somebody else is using Reflect, you're probably golden at that point, because you have the physical attack and then you have the Reflect, and you should be good to go for the rest of the raid. But Weezing is a little harder to play because you do have to take in consideration who's using what moves. You don't want to Clear Smog. You want to Clear Smog when Rayquaza boosts, but you don't want to Clear Smog all the buffs your team is doing. So just keep that in mind of how that specifically works. Galarian Weezing also has a really high defense stat. And if you don't need the Zoom Lens, or if it's not being that useful to you, because I think Strange Steam is a 90% accurate move, so that actually the Zoom Lens makes that 100% accurate. You can just switch this out for Shell Bell. You can just put on the Shell Bell as an alternative item here. Weezing also gets Haze, although I don't think you need Haze here because you have Clear Smog, but I do want to talk about Haze is an alternative to Clear Smog if you're looking for another move to clear stats. And then Weezing also gets Taunt. So if we know before it puts up its Raid Shield, it's going to try to Swords Dance or Dragon Dance, we can Taunt that to stop it. And a lot of Pokemon here can learn Taunt as an alternative move. EVs are going to be 252 HP, 176 defense, 72 special attack, and 8 special defense. And in case Rayquaza has Earthquake or Earth Power, we have Levitate, so we don't have to get hit by ground type moves. So that's perfect. Do not do the Weezing with the ability to shut off your teammate's ability. Don't do that. And again, you don't want to do the one with Misty Terrain because you don't want to shut off your own ability to burn Rayquaza. I guess unless you're playing with a lot of non-fairy type Pokemon. But again, I don't know. We're about to talk about a non-fairy type Pokemon next. And that non-fairy type Pokemon is going to be Golden Go with the Fairy Tera type. I think we just covered 6 fairy Pokemon. So those are the first 6 I built. We have 4 non-fairies. Spoiler, though, they all Tera to fairy. So that's why I don't think Misty Terrain is as important. But before we get to Golden Go, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure to check if you're subscribed. Make sure to comment and like. And this video has taken me like a whole week to do because building 10 Pokemon and calculating for 10 Pokemon and putting this all together and making all the graphics just takes a long time. So just make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, I would really appreciate it. But anyways, Golden Go, holding the Shell Bell, the Fairy Tera type, with Dazzling Gleam, Nasty Plot, Light Screen, and Reflect. I really wanted to find a Nasty Plot user because we have Magearna with Calm Mind. But the cool thing about Golden Go is it gets both Light Screen and Reflect. It gets Nasty Plot. It gets a strong Fairy type move. It has a really strong, crazy special attack. And it actually has good resistances here because it's Steel and Ghost. But we can go Fairy, and we'll be able to do even more damage. Our EVs are going to be 244 HP, 32 defense, and 232 special attack. Not 252 HP. There was one specific move where it might have been Earth Power. No, it couldn't have been Earth Power. I can't remember what move it is. I'm so sorry. I calculated this a week ago. Anyways, I needed to remove a little bit HP and then increase a little defense, but I didn't want to sacrifice any special attack because I believe that's a jump point where we are with special attack. Anyways, we turned it from a 4-hit KO to a 5-hit KO by just lowering the HP a little bit and then putting a little bit more into special defense. It's fine. I can't remember that calculation, but that's where we got the calculation from. Good as gold ability, that doesn't really matter too much. But again, this Pokemon would pair really, really well with the Galarian Weezing. You're able to Nasty Plot. The Galarian Weezing is able to Acid Spray. You'll be able to do huge damage with Dazzling Gleam. Your real main threat is like Earthquake or Earth Power, but again, you can just Reflect, Light Screen, and then once you get to Tera, that's not even a problem anymore. You can teach a Metal Sound, although Metal Sound's not 100% accurate. You can also teach a Charge Beam if you like to roll your luck of your special attack boost, but Charge Beam is like a good way to build Tera. So if you don't need Light Screen, you could put Charge Beam there instead and then Charge Beam until you get to Tera, and then it's pretty simple. Ignore the Charge Beam thing. The Charge Beam thing could work, but it's whatever. I think a lot of people have a Golden Go built from previous raids, so if you're just looking for, if you don't want to build anything from scratch, you could just take this to Medali, change it to Fairy, teach a Dazzling Gleam, and you should be good to go for Golden Go. Our next Pokemon is a Dragon-type Pokemon, and I know what you're thinking. Why would you bring a dragon to a dragon fight when that dragon gets same type attack bonus and a Stellar Dragon, which means that Dragon-type moves will do a lot of damage? I know, I understand. I didn't think any dragon would be good, but number one, Steel Resist Dragon, so it ends up making Dragon neutral here. Two, Goodra's stats are just so good. So it actually is not as bad as you would think. Surprisingly, not as bad as you would think. Goodra takes pretty much a 4-hit KO from a lot of the calculations I did. But part of that is because of Goodra's moveset. Well, number one, its ability is Shell Armor, so it can't get critical hit, so that helps a lot. But the Dragon Worry is only a worry until we Terrasilize, and Goodra can probably Terrasilize faster than any other Pokemon can Terrasilize because it gets 2 moves that you're going to want to spam right off the bat anyways. One is Breaking Swipe, one is Acid Spray. So Acid Spray to help all your special attackers, your Magearna, your Weezings, the next Pokemon we're going to talk about, Heatran, your Golden Goes, they all get to do more damage. Breaking Swipe is just like Chilling Water, except it will hit it hits in this situation, it hits better than Chilling Water because you get the super effective damage, but also Breaking Swipe just does more damage than Chilling Water, and you get the same type attack bonus from Goodra being Dragon. So you probably just start off with 3 Breaking Swipes and then Terrasilize and then switch to Terra Blast. It also gets Life Dew. It's an egg move, but another way to heal the team that isn't specifically Clefairy. So if you have a Goodra built, Goodra's very good. You could opt to put Gooey on it if you're going to get hit with moves, but that might cancel out the Dragon Dances if it has Dragon Dance. I think Shell Bell's probably just more reliable, or not Shell Bell. Shell Armor is more reliable of just not getting crit. But Shell Bell, the held item here. I don't know what else to say about Goodra. It's pretty straightforward. You could also put Dragon Cheer on Goodra so your teammates could have more likely a chance to crit. My experience with Dragon Cheer is it breaks raids. There's been so many times where I've personally used Dragon Cheer or my teammates have used Dragon Cheer and the whole raid just locks up. Specifically with Archaladon. So I don't know if it's an Archaladon only issue, but Dragon Cheer feels real. I love it. I think Dragon Cheer is one of the coolest moves in the game, but it's been really unreliable for me. You could also opt to put Scald on Goodra. You wouldn't be doing a lot of damage because Dragon resists water, but you do have a 30% chance to burn, and it's another way to build Tera and burn Rayquaza. But if you like burning raid bosses, let me introduce you to Heatran. Also, I forgot to talk about Goodra's EVs. I'm just making sure you're paying attention. Goodra's 252 HP, 40 defense, 216 special attack. All right, Heatran. Heatran works really, really well here, surprisingly, for not being a fairy type Pokemon. We want the hidden ability Flame Body because Heatran's main goal as a Pokemon is just to burn Rayquaza no matter what. So we have so many Pokemon that can reflect. We have so many Pokemon that can use like something like Chilling Water or Breaking Swipe. But Heatran is probably our most reliable burn Pokemon. So anytime Rayquaza hits Heatran with a contact move, there's a 30% chance it gets burned, even if its Raid Shield is up. We can also use the move Scorching Sands, which also has I believe a 30% chance to burn Rayquaza every time it's used. And then because Heatran will be the fairy type Tera, when we Terrasilize, our Tera Blast will do fairy damage. And Heatran has 120, 130 special attack. It's really high. And then we have Lunge, which is just the bug version of Chilling Water and Breaking Swipe. And we also have another way to taunt Rayquaza in case we're worried about Swords Dancer or Dragon Dance. Heatran can also learn Metal Sound, and it can also learn Burning Jealousy. So Burning Jealousy wouldn't do as much as Scorching Sand. Well, it probably wouldn't do as much because it would be resisted, but you get the same type of attack bonus. But Burning Jealousy works when the Pokemon you're using against does a stat boost, where Scorching Sands is just a 30% chance every time you use it. So if you know that Rayquaza is just going to spam a specific move, you could do Burning Jealousy instead. I think maybe before knowing its moveset, I think Scorching Sands is going to be more consistent. But if you like Heatran, which I don't know how many people actually do like Heatran, I think Heatran's a really good choice if you just want to burn. It works really good with the two acid sprayers we've talked about, Weezing and Goodra as well. So if your raid team is going to lean on the special side of things, which I do think the special side of things is probably the smarter way to go, assuming bulk up is there, I guess, which is a big assumption. The acid spray can work when the raid shield is up versus there's no physical equivalent to acid spray. Well, there is, but not a Pokemon we built today. All right, our final Pokemon is going to be Granbull. I really wanted an Intimidator, and here's Granbull. Surprisingly, I think Granbull does well here. Granbull's base stat total is awful. It's not very good, but you're going to get the Intimidate right off the bat, which is good. I suppose, though, Granbull is probably going to be a lost cause if Rayquaza does something like Dragon Ascent off the bat and then clears its stats, because it's going to clear that initial Intimidate. But I guess, no, well, the Intimidate still kind of matters there because it's going to weaken that initial Dragon Ascent. It's not, actually, the more I think about it, it's not that bad. You're a pure fairy type, so you don't have to worry about dragon type moves. The problem here is just Granbull's base stat total. But Granbull gets bulk up. So how I would play this is I would use Mud Slap to build Tera. Maybe start with one bulk up just to get that defense up. You're very okay if somebody's going to set a Reflect for you. But use Mud Slap to increase your Tera, to reduce Rayquaza's accuracy, and then you're going to Terastallize and hit Play Rough. With the Shell Bell, you'll get health back. We have another way to taunt, and we do have Bulk Up, which none of our other Pokemon have had, but Bulk Up will increase both your defense and your attack. So that is going to keep Granbull alive on top of your defense is getting stronger, your attack is getting stronger. Every time you attack, you get health back. And in the worst case scenario, if you faint, you come back and you Intimidate, which makes that good for not only you, but for your team. I don't think, out of all 10, I don't think Granbull is the best. But she's trying her best. And I think that's how we should end this video. Now, again, all of these builds were calculated. If you want to see those are on my Twitch in the VOD section. If you need help when Rayquaza comes out, I will be helping people on Twitch. I do not expect Rayquaza to be as hard as Mewtwo because Mewtwo was 7-star. This is only 5-star. But I did see people struggle with Walking Wake and Iron Leaves and Dialga and Palkia. So your strongest opponent is joining randoms online. They will be harder for you to deal with than Rayquaza. So hopefully these 10 Pokemon inspire you to build something, or you already have some of them done, so you just have to adjust the moves. But I wanted to make sure that everyone could get a shiny Rayquaza as easy as possible. And once Rayquaza's moveset comes out, if I need to tweak anything or if I find Pokemon get that done faster, I will do another video with those new Pokemon. But this is the best I could calculate off of all of those moves you saw earlier, and the available Pokemon I have today. And again, I don't do solo builds, but if I was to pick a solo Pokemon here, it would be Magearna. Granted, if you have a Magearna. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I know this has been a long video. Thanks for making it to the end. And again, if you need help with Rayquaza when it comes out, here's my Twitch channel. And you can just join the Twitch when Rayquaza debuts, and we'll help you out. We'll help you get the Rayquaza, especially if you're struggling. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.